Hey, what's up? It's Christoph from Be Mindful here, and today I want to talk to you about the concept of chaos. Chaos. We're all exposed to this, whether it be money, mobs everywhere not agreeing with the politics, big fights. Chaos is everywhere. It is a part of life. We cannot escape the fact that our world, our lives is entrenched and full of chaos. Because in our day-to-day life, normally, in general, you would have the opposite feeling, the opposite impression, right? Because we are born in this world as a little baby. We go to school, we go to college, we get a job, we work at that job for quite some time, and then around our 60 or 65 years old, we are on our pension, and then we slowly but surely fade away from the face of the earth. Quite depressing, isn't it? But this system that we are all in normally, this gives us this feeling of security, of a certain order. But nothing is more true than that of this order as well. These are both sides of our lives when you have the yin and the yang. Let's look at the definition of chaos. Chaos is defined as the presence of total disorder or confusion. So order and disorder or chaos are the complete opposites, right? This is pretty logical. In my opinion, this definition describes our society for a big part in a very good way. And chaos is a very important part of our lives, whether you like it or not. If you don't accept this fact, then we're gonna get in trouble sooner or later. But if you somehow manage to take this up in your own life and accept that, we could be living our best lives. The younger generation now has the least of clue in what direction we want to go. We have so many options we cannot choose out of the choice we have. We have so many different ideas, but we cannot execute on any of those because we're so overwhelmed. In general, let's call this confusion. And this is true. I've talked about this with a lot of the people of my age. We're about 24, 25, where you graduate and you look at your life and you're like, I don't even know what I want to do in my life. I've studied medicine or engineering, but I don't even want to do that. I don't know what direction I'm going, and I just don't know what to do in general. And I think this is the state of a lot of the young people today, myself included. We're all still looking, we're all still searching. I've recently read a book actually that was really eye-opening in that fact. Very interesting. It connects the fact that our younger generation is more confused and more directionless than it has ever been because we don't have a narrative. We don't have a personal story that we can follow. Religion, myths, and other stories that people used as an example for their own lives. We've all kind of put religion beside ourselves. We don't need that anymore. We are bigger than that. Oh, here it is. This is Joseph Campbell, A Hero with 1,000 Faces. It's about mythology in general. But let me quote a little piece in this book. It's awesome. Nietzsche said the following: "Dead are all the gods." It's pretty harsh, right? The problem of mankind today is that today there is no meaning in the group, none in the world, but all is in the individual. There, the meaning is absolutely unconscious. One does not know toward what one moves, and one does not know by what one is propelled. So again, we don't have an idea where we're going, what we should do, and what is our purpose? What is driving us? Now, having said all of this, I just wanted to explain the concept of chaos, and of course there are some negative aspects surrounding that. But to end with a positive note, I want to tell you how we can cope, how we can deal with chaos, and how we can actually live normally and thrive in our lives with that chaos. Because we're not escaping it at all. There's just no escaping that fact. To go back to another piece of an interview of Jordan B. Peterson, which is, by the way, one of my favorite people on the internet right now that actually know what they're talking about. And he says that to operate in chaos, we have to be on the thin line between total order and total disorder or chaos. Let's have a look and listen at that piece of advice he has for us.
And part of the reason that our society is so damn unstable now, and part of the reason all this weird chaos is emerging, this is a consequence of Nietzsche's observation back from the late 1800s about the death of God. We blew the metaphysical foundations out from underneath our culture. And the whole thing is shaking and twisting. And it's vacillating between the horrors of the extreme right and the horrors of the extreme left. It's been doing that for 140 years, and we're in the throes of that again. We blew the metaphysical foundations out from underneath our culture. And we need to get them back. Part of the reason that people are so obsessed by things like the Avengers movies and the superheroes and Harry Potter and all of that is because, and Star Trek and Star Wars, is because our collective imagination is trying to regroup at the level of drama and reformulate our fundamental metaphysics. If the tradition falls apart, you end up isolated and drowning in the ocean alone. But if the tradition gets too intense and restricted, well then you're just clones in a prison, and that's these two forms of hell. In a sense, they meet. You know, if they get extreme enough, they meet. The hell of absolute chaos and the hell of absolute order, and the conservatives tend towards the hell of absolute order, and the left liberal types tend towards the hell of absolute chaos. There's some point in the middle. That's the line between yin and yang, by the way, because that's order and chaos. And the Taoists say, well, that's life, that's existence, order and chaos. And order is the place you are when what you do works, and chaos is where you are when what you do doesn't work. And no matter where you go, order and chaos exist, and your job is to be right on the border between those. And that's to live in Tao, that's to live in meaning, and that's that same place where all these things stack up. And so with regards to religious tradition, on the one hand, you have to maintain the tradition. It's like maintaining the Constitution in the US. On the other hand, you have to be awake and alert, because the tradition is a dead thing, right? It was composed by dead people in the dead past. So what are the rules for operating in a state of chaos? Well, as far as I can tell, the fundamental rule when operating in chaos is tell the truth. So for example, if you...
For the people that want to navigate this successfully.
Yep. All you've got, that's what you've got, as a shield and a weapon. And that's the guidepost. That's the way through. Well, and you see that in hero stories all the time, you know. So it's allegiance to the truth, but the truth is a strange thing. It's a very strange thing. Often the hero in a story has to assimilate their dark side before they're capable of telling the truth. Right? In The Hobbit, for example, he has to become a thief. Right? Because he has to get tough. That's the thing. That's the thing. Also, the thing about telling the truth is that it's not for the naive, not at all. And partly it's because it burns off dead wood. It's partly because it hurts people's feelings. It's a sword. So, you have to be a warrior.
Wow, a truth warrior in this time of chaos.
Right.